After you succumb to the fate in a close contest, there is little time for you to rest, as yet. The night beckons, and the next rite reveals itself to be a vital one. It's already time, reader. Come see for yourself. The coldness of the season now presents to us another chance. He heads out straight away, and you follow in return. Indeed, among the remaining stars, you see one with which you are familiar now burns ever brightly. The path to freedom is laid bare before you. It is weird feeling how close together these are now. Like time is just crunching more and more, and we're getting closer and closer to just some sort of ending. Alright, so far I've successfully liberated 2 characters. I have failed to liberate 1 character, thus leading to the leader of the Essence escaping. But now it's what, us against the fate? Which is pretty much the best case scenario. Because that means that if I do lose, then this old guy gets to go free, which is just like... No, surely it's not a bad thing, except for the part where I'm not getting my own guys free, obviously, but that's never a sure sign. Solium, the Golden Star. Dalbert's already on his way. We are 1-1 now, although those are somewhat perverted numbers with my willingness to allow people to win sometimes. Twice now. If I had used that tactic before, maybe we could have had maybe we would have had the option to lose to somebody that's a better option than who we did lose to last time. Already are the Nightwings summoned back to Mount Elodiel. Picture the rites as a wheel broken free from a wagon. It is turning uncontrollably, and soon shall reach a sudden stop. We should have several chances left for someone to go free. Either us, or else our adversaries. But not both. What is at stake each time is further complicated now, I must admit, knowing we have so few opportunities remaining. Those whom we send back into the Commonwealth, should our plan somehow fail, they may look back upon their exile with fondness. It's glowing again. 50%! So yeah, it keeps going up constantly. If I were to guess vaguely, I would say that the game might take me all the way up to 60% by the end of the game, even without my liberating anyone else. So anybody else being liberated would be a pretty significant boost, because this thing keeps going up on its own, but just very slightly. So I'm just vaguely guessing that we might get another 10% out of those increases. So, returning to the Commonwealth is not inherently a mercy, I don't think. Moreover, there are also those among us whom we count on to prevail in the rites. We need them in the Nightwings just as much as we need them in the Commonwealth. We cannot simply grow our numbers here, given the circumstances. And so, who stays, who goes, these choices affect us all. No pressure there, my boy. Now, I don't know about you, but I shall go and take my leave for now. Let's set forth again at daybreak. Talkie talkie. Faye seems very happy about something and has been chanting softly to herself. On closer inspection, however, she seems to be engaged in conversation with the wagon wall. And so, after the rite, he said to me, I think he said to me, farewell. Can you believe it, little brother? He said that. Then he left to go find Mr. Dalbert, who went on ahead. And so, I think that maybe we are friends now. Don't you think so, too? We have a lot in common, don't we? Friends are supposed to have a lot in common, right? For instance, we're both fighting for those we care about, for those who helped us when we needed it. Is that not so? He is very lucky to have met Mr. Dalbert, isn't he? She falls silent for a time, then... It cannot be that the 8 scribes intended for us that all of us just have to fight each other all the time. It just cannot be. So, many whom we face, they don't like us very much, do they? Because if we prevail against them, it must mean that they cannot go home, even if they really want to. So that's why they don't like us. Back home, when they told me to stop being me, I didn't like them either. You want to know what I think, little brother? I think the scribes put us together in all this so we can learn from one another and grow closer together as friends. That's what I think, little brother, and I told them so, and maybe next time I see Almer and Mr. Dalbert again, they will be happier to see me then. She bounds off, noticing you as she goes. Hi, mister. You sense some burden has been lifted from her, and her knowledge of the rites, however informal as they may be, has crystallized into some deeper understanding. Whoa, +1 hope. Neat. That encounter had a specific bonus for her. Hooray! Now she's at what, +3? Yeah, because of my influence, in addition. And now everyone has +2 quickness. I can start working on presence. Don't know if there's enough game left, because we're about to do number 4. How many more can there be? I have 7 characters in the party. Boy. Well, this is meant to be your chance to escape, Jodariel. I'm not particularly great at playing you, and you're one of the characters I most want to go back there to finish the original trio. The 3 characters that my protagonist is most indebted to, is how I see it at least. Did I reset the trinkets? Probably not, I never do between matches. Oops. There we go. Yeah, just keeping people with their special ones. Bertrude is almost certainly going to have to stay in the Nightwings the entire game. Maybe I'd liberate her last if I knew that it was the last Rite at some point. But Gilman would probably be a good option at some point too. Faye and Tizo and Volfred are my top candidates for sticking around. Pamitha, I feel like, kind of explicitly gave up her shot on some level, so that counts at 4 characters. So maybe Bertrude, Gilman, and Jodariel. Then after that, maybe Faye, if we get enough. Volfred I'm iffy about. On one hand, he probably forwards the plan a lot if you can get him out of here, but on the other hand, getting him up high enough in rank would be difficult without using him constantly, especially since I'm stuck at playing as him. And also, for facilitating this plan, I feel like somebody should be still sticking around in here, and he seems okay with the idea anyway. Oh well. Thoughts to think about. Who else can I ram into? There may be fewer and fewer of them now. They don't really show up when it's time. Oh yeah, I guess if you haven't qualified for the big final round, then you're probably not going to show up around here, huh? Look at this little drive-in going... Oh, wow, he's gone. Huh. Did I capture him or destroy him or something? Yeah, I guess you won't see them flying around right now because we're all getting prepped for the final thing. And if you're not qualified, you won't be there. Once more we sail above the fall of Solium. The temple, to the 8 scribes, awaits us at the summit. None have seen the temple, save for those worthy to conduct the rites there, and myself, and my counterpart Celeste. You may, then, wonder whence it came. The cycle of the rites has turned since the beginning of this age. Over its course, whilst waiting for the cycle's turn, some exiles thus paid tribute to the 8 scribes. I think the scribes may not have wanted such extravagance, or the carved effigies to them along the way, yet it is for triumvirs to decide how best to honor the rites. They chose to honor them, as you see here. How you remember this, of course, whether you even wish to do so, is yours to decide. The scribes would not want otherwise. What are my options here? So Faye gains favor, or... Ooh, Bertrude gains favor. Okay. My squad is probably going to be Faye, Jodariel, and Bertrude, I would say. 2 most comfortable characters for me to play as, most likely crossed with the one character that I'm trying to free. Probably want to give the boost to Faye then, because she's probably going to be one of my primary scorers. You make landing upon Mount Elodiel, where Volfred pulls you aside while the others complete the post-flight inspections. He puffs at his pipe before speaking up. Reader, as you know, I now wear the raiments once again. This means that I, myself, may soon be worthy to regain my freedom in the eyes of the 8 scribes. Know, however, that is not my wish to go just yet. It is true I could be of some benefit to our plan back in the Commonwealth, but I feel my place is here for the time being. Perhaps once the Nightwings are on a surer footing in their path, my time shall come. Those are my feelings on the matter, and I wanted you to know. I shall of course defer to you. Our path is not to contradict the reader's will. Anyway, I trust that all of us, yourself included, shall find our freedom. If not soon, then by when all this is over. The Nomad Scribe's favor. Having completed the post-flight inspection, you and Faye visit the monument of Golgothanian here in Emperor's Fall. Golgothanian, second of the 8 scribes of the Book of Rites, known as the Oath Taker, or the Repentant. The Empire's Master General entered exile of his own volition to pursue his liege. Emperor's Fall. A pathway on the outskirts of Mount Elodiel, nameless lower summits. Those... Is it really lower, though? I mean, is it really nameless? If we're... Those who fail to traverse Emperor's Ascent often end up dashed upon these rocks. Oh, great. Is this all part of your plan, O scribes? I know I need not ask, just as I know the path you have laid out takes many, many turns. Please, help us navigate that path, my friends and I. We wish to find our way together, with your blessings. Soon she has finished paying her respects. You return to the wagon in silence, feeling as though Golgothanian has shown you favor. You soon shall ascend the mountain, though there is time now to pursue your vocations. Ooh. Neat. Oh, +2 hope. Also good. So much hope for you. Again. Huh? Faye seems to be talking to the black wagon's walls again, though this time something seems to have come over her. Little brother, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? You are unsure whether to check in on her or leave her be. Let's see. It may be best in this case to wait and listen and see where this goes and see how the conversation proceeds. Faye would not be here if she lacked the capacity to work through her problems. You sense now is not the time to interrupt, and that Faye is on the verge of confronting some long-dormant emotions which she ought to face. They always said that there was something wrong with me, but they wouldn't really tell me what. They wouldn't say, they said that I was moon-touched, but so what? Moon-touched, those deemed impaired by Commonwealth standards, or very different in a negative sense. So then, the scribes, they called me here. They're the ones who brought me here, not those people. They're so cruel. They were always so cruel. I didn't have a little brother at the time. No one that I recall, really. Although so much of it back then, I can't really tell how much of it I dreamt. Most of it. I didn't want it to be true. But I remember that they threw me out. They decided that they would throw me out and let the scribes take care of me, they said. The scribes, they would take care of me. It was so very quiet, and I was all alone, again. Although I think I liked it more, being alone down here, than being alone back there. Everybody's alone down here, and so it makes me feel less alone somehow. Back there, why, I would sometimes see families, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, but here, there was hardly anyone at all. But I knew that I was closer to the scribes. I knew that they were in the sky, above. And I did search for them up there, you know? And then one night I found them. I saw the stars, and they were falling to the ground, and I thought, why is it the scribes themselves are crying? Are they sad? And maybe, are they sad for me? Well, that was when I first saw you, little brother. With your help, I would get closer to the scribes. That way, maybe they could answer all my questions, don't you think? But I'm so very glad I found you and the others. I'm finally not alone. I'm finally not alone. And more importantly, I think sometimes I even feel that way, that I'm not alone. Maybe, as we get closer, maybe I will get to feel that way more often, being here or being anywhere with you and all my friends. She falls silent, though you were concerned for her at first. You sense that now she is at peace. She wanders off, paying you no notice in the least. You sense you have a better understanding of her now. That sucks. Was she just booted? And that's it? Scorpus. She was born on the 19th of 11th moon, suggesting she is driven and fixated. One's astral sign is often foretells one's disposition, strengths, and idiosyncrasies. She was convicted for vagrancy. She failed to meet basic cognitive standards and had no place or family in the Commonwealth. Motive none. The record states she demonstrated a thorough lack of understanding of her wrongdoing. She's been exiled for 2 years because she just wasn't person enough. She didn't function correctly, so she had to be removed. Oh, great. Great job, Commonwealth. What's that? This person might have a mental illness to work through? Throw her to the wolves. Jesus. She actually might be better off being with the Nightwings than being free, just because here she has a group of people that takes care of her and cares about her and notices where she is, and whereas if we send her back, she might just go right back to being completely lost again. God damn. I can't help but say that part of me wants to know how the Commonwealth responds when a demon shows up, just because supposedly the process for coming back out of the downside, the part that's supposed to be a secret. But how do you hide that? Curious about that. I think it's time to study in private. Keep this bonus going. Alright. You find a quiet corner near the Black Wagon's grounds to delve into the secrets of the Book of Rites. Through greater understanding comes the Raider's influence. +1 presence. And we're gonna study the innate mystic power. You attune yourself to the strange and mystic properties of the Book of Rites, embracing such as possible that which cannot be explained or truly known. Inspiration comes at you in a flash. Whether from the book or from within, you cannot tell. Tenacity. It's a gruelingly small bit of progress to increase everybody's stats one at a time, but ultimately the net gain is so big because, like, Pamitha, like, I was going after Pamitha's things like, wow, +4 to all stats? That's incredible. It's like, but yeah, but I could give +2 to all stats to the entire party if I really go for it. It'd be just as valid. So I better get busy. Jadariel, probably the right call. Yes, the right call. Let's help out with Jadariel now, because I'm trying to let her go free now. En route to the mountaintop, you pass by a monument to Luce Glorian, and Jadariel happens to take notice. You scribes are quite predictable. The others were naive to think our opportunities as freedom were indefinite. So, now we have to make the most of every chance. Is that not so? I fail to see how that is any different than before. Soon she has finished paying her respects. As you prepare to continue your ascent, you sense that Luce Glorian has shown her favor. 2 presents. There we go. Any little thing. I can see the value in a little bit. Right now we're going for every little boost we can possibly get, so the idea of going instead for the ability to have plus bonuses as a result of the drug use, the things that are sold by the store, I can see why. Because there's a desperation to get every advantage you can. You and your fellow exiles gather at the foot of the Scribe's Gate before an archway carved of stone, where stands the Gate Guardian. Greetings to you, Celeste. I see the exiles and the Nightwings have returned, even as the cycle of the rites begins drawing to a close. The Nightwings accept this as the will of the Scribes. The Gate Guardian laughs at this softly, for some reason. And you, Tariq, do you accept their will as well? But the Lone Minstrel does not answer her. It is no matter. Now, Nightwings, each of you, come forth and state what it is you seek, whilst crossing the Scribe's Gate. One by one, the Nightwings declare themselves. You all pass through as before. When Volfred takes his turn, Celeste stops him. You. I see you wear the raiments once again. Explain. The cycle of the rites is ending. While I do not know exactly why, I have my fears. One of my contemporaries, he, who fell from the summit long ago. He lives, and seeks his liberty again. He stands against us now, and believes his triumvirate to be the true Nightwings. I remember well the contemporary whom you mean. Then the Nightwings stand divided. Yes, and so I wear the raiments once again, in case that it might help to right this wrong. This raises some questions about how this whole system works, by the way. So, like, that guy, he fell off the cliff, right? It's just strange to me that the other character tried to steal his freedom and died because she didn't earn it, but then he fell off too, but he just fell. It's strange to me that he didn't fall into the thing that frees him and that it didn't give him his freedom, despite what the other person did. Huh. For I am Volfred Sandalwood, and I seek liberty for each of us, so that one day we all might stand shoulder to shoulder on the other side and bring our freedom to the people there. He considers Volfred's words for a moment. I see. Then, move along. The Guardians of Scribe's Gate regards you all, and then she beckons you onward. The 8 scribes bid the Nightwings welcome. Go forth with glory. The last? What is it, Tariq? The will of the scribes. As long as we both long have we both followed it, I think you would agree. In equal measure has it drawn us close, has separated us. But if their aim now is to keep us apart, for another age or longer, then no, I do not accept their will. You blaspheme, Tariq, and at the gate no less. But the lone minstrel simply puts his hat back on. Then may the scribes themselves admonish me until tomorrow night, Celeste. Somebody's got a crush. What is she gonna do if this shuts down? Is she immortal? How long is she gonna just wait around for nothing? Having reached the peak of the Mount Aladiel again, you cannot help but reflect on whether one of your companions may go free this night, or remain stranded on the downside as Pamwitha did after last time. Hey guys, so like, I don't know what's going on up there with all them stars all acting real weird and stuff, but let me tell you something here. You ain't gonna find a better deal on all this stuff from anybody, and I mean anybody in the downside. You can trust me when I tell you that, okay? So, go ahead, stock up. Ooh, look at that big old pile. And a bigger one? Oh, permanently gain a hope. God, it's expensive, but it's also permanent. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was hoping for, is permanent ones. +4, +3, both decent, both expensive. The prices are all over the place in this game. This one's +3 and it gives you 30, so you'd expect that a +4 would be 40, but the +4 is 45, so like the cost effectiveness is like a nightmare. But my talismans are all maxed out at this point, the ones I use usually. And the other characters' major talismans are mostly don't have levels. Definitely getting less and less reason to even upgrade things at this point. So I may just save it for something good. Or just save up for the opportunity to hopefully be able to buy something like this, the permanent ones. For the moment I don't have the money, and I'd best move on. Just not a lot of customers today. You're in the gate. People don't go here unless they have the right. You're choosing poorly if you want customers. Volfred looks up as you approach and smiles. I never thought that I would say such things, my boy, but it is good to wear the raiments and the rites once more. The march of time does have a way of healing certain hurts. Besides, the Nightwings of today, we are a very different beast than the triumvirate which took me in almost a decade ago. Ours was a triumvirate of exactly 3, well, 4, with Jizo, who proved to be an exception, though historically the Nightwings never took on more exiles than needed. I have mentioned my predecessor, Brighton, and my former companions, Eresa and Oralek. Perhaps, naively, I had hoped my time with them would not be relevant directly to what we now attempt. But, seeing as our stories are now intertwined, do let me know if there is more you wish to learn of them. I mean, Oralek's the obvious person to ask about first, especially if we only get one option. The demon whom you met, what was he like before? Were he and Volfred close? You ask about what Oralek was like when he and Volfred first became acquainted. Volfred remained silent for some time. I was very, very sick, you know, when I first landed in the downside. The long trip down the river must have been a little much for me. It was Oralek who found me. He could not have known of my capacity to read before he revived me. He was a physician, intolerant of the sight of suffering of any kind. Not just any physician, mind you. A gifted, highly decorated one. He served on the front. Back then, skirmishes erupted frequently, and those such as Oralek, they had to deal with many casualties on either side. In time, he said he grew repulsed by what he saw. This sowed in his heart a yearning for an end to all the bloodshed. So he tried to use his status to negotiate a treaty with the High-Wing remnants. He must have gone about how you'd expect. He was given direct orders to return to the front. But when he refused to soil his hands again, they cast him to the downside. Here, he gained the notice of the Nightwings, and before long, he grew to be one of the finest rites conductors anyone had ever seen. He was instrumental in the liberation of his companions, whose roles in the Triumvirate were later filled by Eresa and me. In time, Oralek's own opportunity for freedom had come up. He longed for it, so that with his exalted status he might stand a better chance at negotiating peace. However, on the evening of his liberation, well, you know the story from that point. Volfred breathes a heavy sigh. He and I were kindred spirits for a while. I could not bear to think that he was gone, and now, I still cannot entirely believe that he is back. He is our adversary now, transformed, grown cold. Still, part of me is happy that he lives. Make no mistake, of course, I shall not be swayed against our plan. Not by Oralek, or anyone. As I have said before, we share a higher calling now. As for Oralek, he wants his freedom, still, although I wonder if he still remembers why. Anyway, was there something else, my boy? We can keep asking. Now the obvious question is to ask about the reader, right? Thus far, you've only heard passing reference to Volfred's predecessor, the Nightwings. Wait, was he the reader, or was he the character that he replaced when he got freedom? I think it was actually that. You inquire about Brighton, who you understand was liberated prior to when Volfred first joined the Nightwings. I never met Brighton in person, but I know him rather well by now, though, for that matter, my boy, so do you. He studies your reaction for a moment, then... Brighton was born wealthy, but not special, otherwise. You would have no reason to have heard of him. He was exiled for negligent misconduct. I do not know exactly why and do not care for spreading rumors. I first heard of him through Eresa and Oralek, who found in me a suitable replacement. Following his liberation, they spoke little of him. Oralek gave the impression they did not see eye to eye, but he assured me I soon would hear from him myself. Indeed, as I became accustomed to the book, which you know well by now, I soon began to hear the voice. Volfred looks at you as if to see if you yet take his meaning. You see, my boy, after Brighton's liberation, he assumed a new identity within the Commonwealth, and a new responsibility to the Triumvirate which liberated him. That voice which you hear from time to time, whensoever the stars align, it's his. He is no longer Brighton. He is now none other than Archjustice Androbeles IX himself. The Grand Judge and figurehead who's watched... under whose watch. I was like, what did I miss here? The Grand Judge and figurehead under whose watch the Commonwealth is governed to this day. Those who violate the law of Commonwealth face sentencing by the appointed Archjustice. So whenever we hear about Brighton from Volfred's crew, he's the voice we're hearing constantly. He somehow became the Archjustice, apparently. Interesting. I guess it's to be expected because there's clearly a 9 there, so it's a series of secessions. Liberated exiles retain certain burdens in their old triumvirates. They have much to thank them for, not just for their freedom, but their exalted status in the Commonwealth. The theocratic rulers of the Commonwealth, they do not wear masks and raiment simply for the sake of ceremony. They are not who they appear to be. Their public paths are nothing but a fabrication. Like Brighton, they were once exiles too. Brighton, that voice. He has no love for either one of us by now. He knows full well what we attempt to do, yet he is bound by the traditions of the rites. He shall always stand on ceremony and complain, but I think he knows deep down that he is powerless. How ironic that one of such high status in the Commonwealth should be so frightened of some long-forgotten exiles such as we. Anyway, that's Brighton for you. He must have seen in you the potential to be one of his staunch supporters for a time. If that's a path you'd want to pursue, I should apologize. Now then, whom else should we talk about? Last one's Orisa. She betrayed Orlek, causing the Nightwings to fall apart. Why would she do such a thing? You ask about Orisa, who you understand betrayed Orlek at the moment of his liberation, but then perished in the Shimmer Pool. I'm afraid you know the brunt of it, my boy, but I suppose you ought to know something of Orisa's past, lest you be quick to judge her solely by her actions. Mind you, I would never make excuses for the terrible choice she ultimately made, but her life, I understand, was very difficult. Orisa had been exiled for the foulest of acts. You could see it plainly branded on her face. Such was the heinousness of what she did in the eyes of the Commonwealth. She was an apprentice blacksmith in her youth, taking up the post left by her brother. He had fallen in battle on the blood border, despite wielding their father's own lance and armor. Their father never quite recovered after this, and had grown cruel and detached. It was Orisa who took the brunt of his fury. He expected the impossible of her. One day, it was all too much for her. So when next he lashed out to her, she struck back. She struck back again and again and again. When they came for her, her father was gone, and she was not herself. She was promptly cast into the downside for the crime, where her hatred for the Commonwealth only grew. Orisa always was intense in her demeanor, haunted by her father's memory. More than that, her chief motive for wanting back her freedom was, in hindsight, not a healthy one. She longed to join our nation's enemies, to build for the Highwing remnants a great siege engine that could shatter the defenses of the Commonwealth, and forever end our feud. What she ultimately did to Orlek, it was an act of pure and thoughtless desperation. I do not think that it was simply evil, nor do I think it was personal. I often wondered, though, if, in her final moments in the Shimmer Pool, she understood what she had done, and in the depths to which she had fallen. For years, I must admit I hated her, but now, my only hope is that she found a peace untenable during her relatively short life in the Downside and the Commonwealth. Furthermore, I hope the life of Orisa offers some perspective yet to those of us who have not made the same mistakes. Now then, was there something else? Nope, that's all of them. You do not wish to dredge up any more of Volfred's old memories for now. You bid Volfred a good afternoon and then leave him with his memories. My pleasure, reader. Reflecting on the past from time to time helps demonstrate how far we've come, yet how much farther we have yet to go.